Well, on a Friday. That's right. Happy Thursday on a Friday. Because my fellow sensitive people, we have finally gotten back to our favorite place in the whole wide world, beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon, the greatest city that ever was in the history of the world. Yes, I am back in my beautiful studio downtown Portland. I'm here with my kitty cat. Man, am I glad to be home. Let me tell you, the weather in Los Angeles was so bad. How bad was it? No, it really was. It felt like a wet blanket. It was like 100. It was like 100 degree. Oh, it was horrible. It was just the worst. That my brain literally went out the window. Hi, Catherine. How you doing? Hi, Twitter Bug. Hi, Marjorie Harrison. Congratulations to everybody who has received certification as HCRV practitioners. Also, I wanted to give a congratulations to Geocosmic Valentine. Hopefully, we'll see her later today. She has completed 30 hours of HCRV. She received credit for 30 hours. So we give a warm applause to her. Should she show up and find this video, she'll be able to start her teaching certification. So that's very exciting. Hi, Aggravated Progressive. Great to see you. Hi, Patrice Kelly. Always wonderful to see you. Thanks for your help today, along with Sue Malik, Jeffs. Well, yes, it's been very hot and hot topics. We have a lot to talk about. So if you have not had a chance to do so yet, it would be great if you could like and subscribe and hang with me. It's Friday, anything goes. This is probably the best happy hour that you're going to have. Let's face facts. You've had a hard week. You need to drink something or smoke something. We don't judge you here so long as it comes from the earth and it's minimally processed. Okay, well, let's start with what I'm drinking. I am having a beautiful cup of icy chilled water. And let me tell you, it's been so warm that I put a bunch of ice in here. It melted, and I had to fill it up with a bunch of ice all over again. L'chaim, everyone. And as you can see, I have a beautiful cup. Thank you, Debbie Brady. She designs all our merch. It's a great way to support the channel. If you have not done so yet, think about purchasing some merch. So tell me who you are, where you're coming from, what's going on in your part of the world, what you eating, what you drinking. Oh, yes, you're right, Jen, Seattle Book Lady. We are going to be getting a heat wave next week. And let me tell you, I'm finally getting tomatoes. It only took 3 years, right? They're about this big. So I'm going to do what I have to do to protect those babies. And they don't like to be, they don't like temperatures that hot. They like warm, but they don't like it to be that hot. So there's a part of me that's, got to go and take care of my tomatoes. But I'm very excited. They look really good. Yeah. Yeah, and Debbie Brady is saying that we can gift memberships. I didn't know that. That's wonderful. Anyway, so I hope you like my backdrop. We are in my salon, in my witch's castle. Please grab a drink and take a seat, and let us begin with some remote viewing. Ooh, cozy up, cozy up. All right, so the first thing is that I wanted to talk a little bit about the damp heat that I was experiencing in Los Angeles, just in terms of energy. All right. So in Chinese medicine, damp heat actually can have an impact on our health. If the heat, it suffocates, it's hot, like Florida. Why would anyone go to live there? It's that swamp heat. Energetically, it can have an impact on us. in the sense that we want to be mindful that we are very sensitive to the weather around us. This is something they talk about in Chinese medicine, and it has a spiritual component to it in the sense that we all have different constitutions, and our constitutions can change over time. The constitution we had when we were young, the constitution we have when we are a teenager versus when we are very old, et cetera, et cetera. And so just be mindful at this time while we have these extreme temperatures is really a message from spirit not to to be very mindful of how this can have an impact not only on your physical health but on your mental health. But specifically be aware of the energy of damp heat because damp heat takes you out. Damp heat puts you straight on your back and you literally cannot move. It is a heavy, weighted, wet blanket of lead, and it really it has that kind of energy. It lays you out. So you could be feeling a little bit of that energy. Be mindful also of just taking care of yourself in the coming weeks because many of you are living in extreme temperatures. Okay, so the other thing we want to give prayers to the people in Maui. As many of you know, things are quite difficult there. It looks like it's just been complete destruction on the island. Um, uh, Three fires were set. People start drinking, they start smoking, fires erupt. Also, to just be mindful, these kinds of things can happen. Just that people need to be mindful of that at this time. We're going to be raising funds. It looks like, am I pronouncing? Please forgive me if I don't pronounce it right. Lahaina, Lahaina, is that the how you pronounce the island? We're going to be raising funds for Maui. You know that we plant trees. Unfortunately, some of Maui, I guess, was old growth, and it will take hundreds of years to come back. But we can start by raising money to repair the ecosystem in Maui. So we'll be doing that on Sunday. This one goes back to Lahina. Thank you so much, sweetie. I've never been. I hope I will go. I know many people will go to help with the repair. And the best of humanity usually shows up in these kinds of disasters. The other thing I'm seeing is that old traditional ways of doing business in Hawaii will start to come up again in Maui. That the canoes, that the boats, the indigenous people use to travel in that area to get aid, etc., they'll go back to using that at this time. It's a wonderful idea, whether it's getting food resources, get them in the kayak or whatever small boat you're using and get them from area to area. They're going to start doing that in this area. That's what I see. As I had said also in previous remotes, we are now at a point where we're entering into the ability with our technology to put up what are called swarm satellites. It's kind of a neat idea. You send up swarms of satellites and they deflect the heat by simply moving in different directions. And they can be sent to areas of extreme heat. You can put them up in certain areas where we're seeing problems, whether it's putting them up out of Cape Canaveral to protect parts of Florida, or what we see happening in parts of Hawaii. And as I had said in previous remotes, we're going to start seeing that in less than 3 years, those satellites will start to go up, which will give us the ability to dramatically lower temperatures of the earth, up to 10 degrees, I think, in some areas. And that is really a miracle. It's a temporary solution, though, because ultimately we still have to clean up the earth. Yeah. Wow, Maui is plagued with annual wildflowers due to the closing of pineapple and sugar agriculture. The unmanaged fields were taken over by highly flammable non-native vegetation. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, wildflowers, wildfires. Oh, I'm sorry. Unmanaged fields were taken over by highly flammable non-native vegetation, which led to wildfires. Okay, excuse me. All right, so that was one of the remotes. The other remote I wanted to talk about had to do with Donald Trump. As you know, he's in a bit of a pickle. I was thinking of that song, Closer to Find. How's that go? I've been to the doctor, I've been to the workout. Closer to finding myself in a jail cell. Closer to find. I got to figure out how to sing that song. But I was really thinking of that when I was thinking of Donald Trump. This guy is closer to finding himself in a jail cell. Uh, he's been warned what? How many times has this guy been warned? He was warned twice by the judge. How many times by Jack Smith? Um, he's also really worried about what's going to happen to him in terms of getting a good trial out of Virginia. He wants to move from D.C. to West Virginia, where he won. Good luck with that. They say that's not going to happen. Probably it's not going to happen. You know, it always seems to end the same way when you go into the remotes, and that is that he probably, like many high profile prisoners, they usually wind up in military prisons. And the reason for that is because fanatics try to break them out. This is what happened to Spear. Was it Spear and who else? Who did Spear? The prison in Switzerland that Spear died in the Nazi. He was with somebody else. Is that correct? Um, yeah, you just put them in these remote areas. Sometimes they're the only prisoner, and that looks like where this person is headed. Yeah. Hi, J.I. Soto. Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, it begs the question, and it's a question that people have been asking. Can he keep his mouth shut? And I don't think he can. you know. Hi, Rosa Blue. Good to see you here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Melissa Miller. Oh, really? So Trump purchased an ad space in Three Media in Atlanta uh, to insult Fonnie Willis. See, that's the kind of thing that most people would be prosecuted, don't you think? I mean, that's a little bit crazy. Steve Myers says Gitmo. I don't know if it's going to be Gitmo. I mean, but yeah, every time I go into it, it's almost like people are like flying over or driving past some military base, and it becomes known as the place that houses the former president. It almost has that kind of play. You're driving past as you're going through. Oh, isn't that the facility that's currently housing? It almost becomes forgotten because without him and his henchmen fueling the crazy, he becomes forgotten, and he becomes forgotten in popular media, I think. Yeah, Leavenworth could be good, this fort or that fort, but he'll probably wind up in some fort somewhere. It's interesting. You go into the remote on it, and you put yourself in the shoes of a prosecutor, and you go through the steps. Can I have this guy under house arrest? No, it's a security risk for my team, right? You can't secure, these are, what are you going to do? Close off an entire block? And the cost, you can't, it's not feasible. So you can't have them, maybe temporarily, but not forever, not somebody with that type of profile. So you think in terms of what has happened in the past, which is these kinds of military facilities. It's just really, I just can't believe. That's probably where we're headed. Okay, last thing. I don't know a lot about the Hunter Biden thing energetically. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but remember last week when we saw that there would be further problems for Hunter Biden energetically? We did the cards for Hunter Biden, and he would be further harassed. It just came out that now there's a special counsel investigating. He is going to trial for tax evasion, uh, having a gun, etc. Um, so, unfortunately, it goes back to what Hunter Biden had said, that his problems are far from over, and that his priority really has to be his sobriety. And that's really all I feel I have permission energetically to say about that. It's just that when I put myself in his shoes, and the card that always comes out for Hunter Biden is that this is somebody who understands that despite the fact that he's really got a target on his back, his focus really is on sobriety. Last thing I wanted to talk about was the man out of Utah. I don't know if you all know about this. There was a man out of Utah. He was making online threats against anyone who he felt was threatening Donald Trump, including making threats against Alvin Bragg. FBI went to his home a couple hours prior to Biden arriving in Utah. One thing led to another. The man lost his life. So I feel that we're at a point now where the security is very, very high under Biden. And I feel that we have a real FBI. And I feel that in many ways, America's a lot safer now than it's been in a very long time. There's a real zero tolerance of this type of crazy now. And I really think that whatever this nightmare was, uh, we're seeing a very heavy crackdown under Biden. And I think it's going to continue. And thank God for that. I mean, it's unfortunate that these people have been brainwashed. This is the danger of these types of fake right wing channels, is that they get into people's heads, and now somebody, possibly a mentally ill person, has lost his life, and that didn't have to happen. If you care about life, but it doesn't matter if it's somebody who's mentally ill. That's why I don't like people making fun of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is insane. And what is the point of making fun of a mentally insane person? We need to take hold of him. We should have taken hold of him a long time ago, and he needs psychiatric attention. He certainly shouldn't be given power, right? But making fun of or trying to hurt a mentally insane person is in and of itself insane and irrational. No, these people need to be removed from the general public, and they need to be dealt with. They're crazy. He's not a mentally well man, right? The other thing that I took away, just as somebody who did the remotes, is we're seeing a lot of male seniors that are on multiple prescriptions, whether it's Adderall, Cialis, or erectile dysfunction medications, along with possibly medications for Parkinson's, which can have an effect on dopamine levels in the brain. Some of these medications can cause people to do some really strange things. And my concern, just as somebody who's in the healthcare profession, is that when I see senior citizens, males, losing it with guns, I have to ask myself, is there possibly something medically going on that is causing this phenomenon to happen? And I think those of us in the healthcare profession, it would behoove us to start looking at drug interactions. Does anyone want to talk about that while I take a sip of my water? All kinds of medications. For example, we know that if a patient has been diagnosed with Parkinson's and is receiving medications that can increase dopamine, they may become irrational. Other medications that can raise dopamine are like cocaine, makes the person feel invincible. People have taken some of these medications and begun to believe that they're going to win the lottery. They run off to Vegas and run up all their credit cards. They lose touch with reality because their dopamine levels are too high. So that would be an example of a drug interaction that's potentially dangerous for a senior. Then you have that same senior who wants to be young again, so he's maybe on that medication, and then he's also maybe on Adderall, and maybe he's also on Cialis, and maybe he's also having hard liquor. You have potentially, and they're watching strange news channels. Yeah, I think you could potentially see somebody develop a psychiatric break, particularly if they have early signs of, say, Alzheimer's or prefrontal dementia or some types of Parkinson's, which can have impact on mental health. Yeah, absolutely. L'chaim, everyone. All right. So that is all I have for you. And I think we can go ahead and do the empath's prayer if you like. And then I'm happy to do some blitzes. Is everybody having fun? Kind of nice to get together on a Friday. Now, I thought it would be fun since it's Friday if we would do a little bit more spooky, spooky stuff, since Friday is, the Shekhinah, the veil is thinner, right? So who knows? All right, let's do the empath's prayer. Okay. I want to call on I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. Amen, everyone. Drinking, lunch, and dinners, I would guess alcoholics and addicts are running this country. Yeah, I mean, this was something that came up with the former administration, right? With the White House doctor, where they were grabbing Ambien and they wanted to, hey, open up the pharmacy and give us everything. And it became this crazy. And it was the exact opposite with Obama. He would not even take a sleeping pill. It used to drive his wife crazy. He would keep her up all night because he would not take a sleeping pill. So you had two very different personalities, right? One where with Obama, he always has to be in control. He doesn't like to take stuff. And then the other personality, which is the exact opposite, where they just literally wanted to break open the pharmacy and give us what we want, and I'll make you the head of the Veterans Affairs, right? Just give me the key to the pharmacy. Just give me and my friend Giuliani and our friends the Cialis and the Viagra and the amphetamines and the Ambien. And if you do that, we'll make you head of Veterans Affairs. Doesn't that sound like a great deal? All right. So we will blitz, blitz, blitz away. Feel free to ask away any questions you like. And we will see what's going on. Let me go back and see if I see any questions. And if you have not liked and subscribed yet, it sure would be great if you would. And hi, Jennifer White. Thanks for being here. Hi, Super Doogie. San Diego opera singer outside my window down in the park. Oh, that sounds beautiful. You live in Florida, so are you a swamp girl? Some people love the swamp and it invigorates them. It's just a different body type. People who have a dry constitution, but I can't do damp heat. It takes me out. But I have gone to the swamp. I've visited Louisiana, and the people that they just thrive down there. It's not for me. I'll visit and then I leave. I cannot take that humidity. It's the one thing I don't like about taking cruises is the humidity. I don't like that at all. Debbie Brady is, thank you, Debbie, is pointing out that the death toll in Maui unfortunately has risen to 67 as of Friday. As I mentioned, we will be raising funds to help rebuild Maui this Sunday. If you can participate, that would be great. Okay. Um, so I want to talk a little bit while people are deciding on what their questions are. So I'm working on a video right now. I think you guys will enjoy. Chuck and I went to Forever Cemetery. Uh, it was really it's a I've never seen a cemetery quite like Forever Cemetery, and you have all the movie stars buried there. We got to see Anne Heche. We didn't know that was buried there, so we saw Anne Heche's burial site. Valerie Harper. We had a message from Valerie Harper. We meditated because we were goofing off and playing. And then afterwards, Chuck and I were thinking about it like, oh, I hope we didn't disrespect the spirits. And then last night when I was meditating, I went into a dream and in the dream, I saw Valerie Harper, who I knew in real life just as a customer of a store that I worked as the pharmacy I worked in as a physician. And she was a lovely woman. And in the dream, she said, "Oh, I saw you came by my gravesite." I said, "Yes." She said, "I saw you both." And then in the dream, Valerie Harper said, "We said, oh, we hope we weren't being disrespectful because we were playing and goofing off." And she said, "Oh no, we loved it. We think it's great, that you're doing improv and that you're doing having fun." And she said, "Keep going," to Chuck and I, and it was a really positive dream. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to say about that shoot was that we think we saw some psychic phenomenon. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the YouTube ghost film footage from the crypt where Judy Garland is buried, but one of the things that happened there is that the night security guard was hearing a child singing, like la la, dancing and singing, and it was in the Judy Garland crypt, and he couldn't find the kids that were there playing, and you could hear the security guard saying, that the cemetery was closed, and oh my God, so it's really, I think that Judy Garland's character and that story just attracts so many people know it, and so many spirits are drawn to that energy. But yeah, when we also did a little bit of filming with a heat sensor camera because we were trying to see if we could see any heat coming off at any areas, and we did see some strange heat patterns. The other thing we did when we went into the vault, we went also into Rudolph Valentino's vault. And but when we went into that area, the lights started doing the weird thing that they had done in the videos that I had seen, because I had seen film footage of this going on at the Forever Cemetery for other people, because I'd been watching the YouTube channel. I mean, I'd been watching the ghost stuff, and then we started covering it, and then the same thing started to happen to us. Our equipment started doing weird things, and then his lights started doing weird things. And it's like, but we have enough film footage that hopefully within a week we'll be able to show you some of what we caught on tape. So that was pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hot spot, and it was neat to have that dream with Valerie Harper because we were like dancing and being silly and doing comedy skits, and Valerie Harper in the dream said, "Oh, I saw it. I thought what you were doing was great," because we thought, "Oh, are the spirits gonna be are we disrespecting them?" And quite the opposite. They were actors goofing off. It's good. It's a positive thing. All right. Melissa Miller was asking, will Tommy Tuberville get into trouble over living in Florida instead of Alabama? Oh, God. Of course he's in Florida. That's where the money is for the offshore account. Oh God, it's just so horrible. And how what they're doing, their illegal businesses are just so horrible. It's all horrible. I mean, they're all bribed. I can't. Well, I guess they are going to go to jail. I mean, I guess the FBI is not going to stop until everybody who took a bribe is in prison. That's what it's looking like. Tommy Tuberville's future. He could be in trouble, yes, and in fact, there could be some kind of an investigation, and he's not cooperating with it. Four of Cups for Tommy Tuberville. Does not want to cooperate with judgment, so that could be a legal issue where questions, and he's not cooperating. Right now, he's got Temperance with him. Interesting, also, Three of Cups. That's strong female power, and boy, I really see him fighting against the the legal system. Look at this here. Two of Swords, refusing to cooperate. Tommy Tuberville, betrayal, stabbing in the back, judgment. This guy is obstructing. In August, be patient. Something's going to happen in August. You can see the August card wherein he has to defend himself, female power. Yes, us liberals are coming after him. You know how we do with the facts. Us crazy liberals. We come at you with science and research and statistics. What can you do? Anyway, so in terms of it's just so interesting when you go back to the FBI investigation and what Robert Mueller had said in the original when we had originally done these meditations. And if you look at the issue of Tommy Tuberville and being in Florida and the fact that all these boats are getting drug off and everything that they said was going to happen happened, but God dang, it took too long, man. It drove me crazy. I can't help but wonder, given what we've seen up to this point, if Tommy Tuberville isn't going to get swept off in the middle of all of that, given his cards. Know what I'm saying? All right, here's a great question. I really want to know this one. JL Soto, hello. How about the crazy Judge Cannon? Oh, I don't know. What do you think about her? Well, what do you guys think about her? Do you think that she is sufficiently scared of going down with the ship, or do you think that she's still part of the cult? Let's take a look. I'll leave you guys to decide. Judge Cannon. Eileen Loose Cannon. Oh my goodness. I see her dropping him like a hot potato because you can't protect him. He's got too many suits. That's the answer. No, he can't. She can't protect him. How can she protect him? Look at this. Hangs it up. The defendant, Seven of Wands. Look at how multiple defense. Seven of Wands is to be attacked from multiple sides. Here is she, right? Hangs it up. Here's Trump, multiple defense issues. Like Seven of Wands, you're like up. It's me and me against the world, right? Two of Pentacles could indicate that, again, he always gets taken out by his finances ultimately. And then final outcome is she gets her wish, which is to be free of this. There's a part of her, I'm telling you, that doesn't want to be in the middle of this. Also, the other thing is I think she's not the sharpest nail in the drawer because she's still researching the law. She's still trying to play catch up with what this is actually about. Look at this. She's got a scholarship card over her as she hangs up Trump. It's almost like she just got the memo that this guy's a crook. Isn't that crazy? He wants to, for in terms of Trump, he thinks that he can run out the clock, run out the clock. Always his defense is to run out the clock. The temperance card is about running out the clock. This is always what you see with Trump. He's always doing that. Something is going down in August, some kind of indictment regarding financial corruption. Two of Pentacles with an Ace of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is a charlatan. I would not be surprised if a couple of weeks if we saw additional charges against Donald Trump, not just out of Georgia, but this is looking like some type of racketeering charges. Two of Pentacles. Remember, Two of Pentacles is to juggle coins. It can be somebody who's a little bit, a little footloose with your money, the juggler. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I guess what they say, January, it was starting. So I don't know if it could end any other way. Maybe other readers are seeing something different than what I'm seeing. I used to think he was going to get house arrest, but then when I put myself into the remote as the prosecutors, I was concerned about security. You'd have to literally have a helicopter flying above the block where he was. I mean, it's not going to be feasible. There are too many wing nuts. Also the other thing that comes out when you go into the remote is that Eric signed some kind of voucher that he would appear in court, and then he showed up. So the thing I took away from that energetically is that Eric is not going to be able to control his father and does not appear to be able to control his father. So I don't think we're going to get problems from Judge Cannon going forward, just because her cards, Hanged Man, and then the Scholar, it's almost like she finally figures it out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she snapped out of whatever the delusion was. I don't know. What about JD Vance? He is blocking nominees. JD Vance blocking nominees. I don't really know what that's about, but I'll go ahead and take a look at JD Vance. Hi, Steve. Good to see you. Is anybody going out later? JD Vance is not able to continue to justify his work, and instead it looks like whatever his work is does not appear to be effective or important. I have not bothered to look too much into JD Vance other than to tell you that it's almost as if his work has no value. I mean, he's got a grief card here. So his work comes to grief. It comes to naught. So you can't continue to pay somebody if they're not producing anything. That's basically my problem as a remote viewer if I were asked to give a report. And I'm glad I don't know a lot about this, because it just looks to me, from what I'm seeing energetically, just scanning the overall feel of this department, is, can you justify the money we're spending? Comes to naught. And then his opposition, meanwhile, they're building a whole other department. You've got a violent police energy is his hopes and fears, and then he has to defend his position. So the fact that his comes to naught and then he has to defend his position leads me to think that this is somebody who theoretically could be losing their job, or that they could be phasing out the department or area that he's working in. There's just a lot of waste. I just see a lot of waste. Look at this. Stubbornness, refusing to help, comes to naught, incarceration cards, building a case of incarceration. And so it likely ends with JD Vance having to defend himself and his work. That's what I would say. Yes, JD Vance, the junior senator from Ohio. Yeah, so if he is part of a committee that is doing certain things or trying to create fake investigations or obstructing things, then he could be seeing his work phased out. Yeah, that would be how I would interpret it. So let's see. One of the questions that has come up continually also has to do with the fact that there were rumors going around. Did you guys hear about this? That they're going to be moving after they come back from their vacation. They're going to be moving towards attempting to cut Social Security. So how they'll do it is that they will cut it based on how much money you made annually. This is where, there's never enough, folks. So they're on vacation now. Does anybody know when Congress is coming back? So what they're saying is that everybody doesn't have to receive Social Security, so we're just going to cut it for people who make this percentage. So that is the beginning of theoretically would be the beginning of the end. They just start chipping, right? So yes, that's their chip, right? Mid-September. So mid-September, we're going to be seeing more about their going after Social Security. Well, if you make 1.2 million, but do we see it as a slippery slope, or do they have a point, or is this type of conversation theoretically dangerous? I just want to go ahead because people have been concerned about the Social Security subject that has been coming up. We're not taking away your Social Security. Oh, great. And now they're back to talking about it. So let's take a look. It does feel to me like almost a libertarian concept in the sense that uh, they want to cut all social programs, and Social Security is considered a social program. So where we're at right now is King of Wands, which is a new beginning, and it's very, very aggressive. So it's a fight. We cannot just put our heads in the sand and think that this is not going to be a fight. Oh, they wouldn't do that. A fascist wouldn't do something. No, fascist wouldn't do something like that. We can't be naive about how horrible psychopaths can be. So we have to be very careful. You have that aggressive Mars energy coming in. Be prepared in the coming year until we can get a Democratic majority. We really are going to start seeing problems with this issue. You can see also the problem is the Two of Wands with our opposition, and that means a partnership. And I'm concerned about what kind of partnership that is. What kind of partnership and what kind of deals were made between lobbyists and the conservatives that are talking about slashing Social Security benefits to Americans? And you can see here the issue is Social Security, Six of Pentacles, which is my Social Security card, and grief. Loss of Social Security, right? So the Social Security is potentially lost. And then you have this unholy alliance. So I think we really, going forward as Democrats, I'm a registered Democrat. I don't know what you are, but if you really, it's a problem. And we are going to have to, I think that if we want to win in 2024, we must be transparent about this. They are going after all social programs, and they're going after Social Security. And it's not just student loan relief. You can see here again, Tower. We're talking about a real fight for social programs. Breaking up an alliance, right? And then here again, false promises, the Knight of Cups, a new beginning. It's very important, I think, in terms of just us protecting, Democrats, making sure more Democrats get elected, that we really emphasize that they really are going after social programs. Those cards are terrible. If we stick our heads in the sand, it could become potentially dangerous. Yeah. And if you're a Republican, it's dangerous. Do you want to lose your Social Security? You have to call out your party. Wouldn't it be nice if the Republican Party went back to being, a normal conservative party, right? And instead, it's become something, I don't know, a bunch of Fruit Loops or something. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not happy with those cards. So, but the way to keep that from happening, I think, is that I think that if that's ridiculous, Steve Myers, people should be getting enough Social Security to be able to pay their rent, food, etc. We should not be starving our seniors that have worked their whole lives. I mean, we got to be ashamed of ourselves. And now they're talking about cutting Social Security. It's ridiculous. Yeah, but it's going to be a fight. I mean, well, King of Wands is ruled by a Mars. Mars is war. Tower is destruction. They want to tear everything down. If you're looking at what happened with Reagan, Reagan was the beginning of this extremely aggressive attempts to tear down social programs. And this is like Reagan 2.0. It's terrifying. Anyway, so I'm going to take a bit of a break. Cheers, everyone. Yes. Has anyone gotten the alien mug yet? Have you checked out our merch? Did everybody like? I've got 505 people. It would be great if you guys could like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Also, think about memberships. We get together on Saturdays and give private readings, and it only costs $2.99 to become a member at the Fairies and Angels level. And it does support the channel. It helps us hire great actors like Chuck and have an amazing director like Debbie Brady. Also, if you would like to learn heart-centered remote viewing, we will begin starting up again the last week of August. I believe we'll be starting fall quarter. That's at the Elders and Empaths level for $9.99. So please think about joining us. We just gave certification, woohoo, to our last class. Everybody did great. I think I can say with complete confidence that the last class I had at Heart Centered Remote Viewing was the most psychic. They really did some great work. Yeah, cheers, everyone. I believe our tradition has been the third week of August. I have to go back and check. I think one year we did it September 3rd because I was out of the country. I'm leaving on September 4th for Vienna, so we'll have to figure that out. I usually, my vacation plans were a little weird this year because we're shooting promos for Taco Tuesday. Yes, so things were a little weird this year. All right, let's do one more question before we close. One or two more. Oh, you're doing, oh, Finnegal. Yay, good for you. I love the designs too. The one that I like the one Chuck wears. I like the way that Debbie designed it. It was real funky with the little Mogan David earrings. And yeah, that's my favorite design of all the designs. Oh, I like this question. Somebody was asking, was that you, Aggravated? Will we get some fairness on platforms like TikTok and YouTube? Are you just you're concerned about foreign interference? I guess you're talking about. Well, let's take a look at the whole foreign interference in social media in general. I think that's a really good question. No, they're not going to shut down the government. I hope not, anyway. I shouldn't say that. I haven't checked. Let's look at social media in our China and social media. It's definitely getting worse. This is something that Biden has talked about, like the fentanyl crisis, the fact that they're making the precursor chemicals in China, sending it to Mexico. It's people are becoming millionaires overnight in labs in Mexico. So we have all this tension, the new, what they're calling the new opium war, right? You have this patience, calm down. This is to cool tempers. However, our opposition, which is China, defensive, putting up their borders, the wall is back up. Hopes and fears that things will be even worse between ourselves and our opposition, China, Russia, etc. A cold war, right? It's a cold freeze in the sense that we're entering into the time of the Four of Cups. And that is where people are trying, everybody's trying to push what they think is best, but you don't necessarily have everybody on the same page. Four of Cups can be rejecting an offer. It's not like a Six of Cups, which can be, or Three of Cups, which is armistice. Instead, we have this kind of resistance happening between like Ukraine and the United States, Two of Swords with a Four of Cups. And we could have here accusations of theft, right? We're seeing a lot of theft of patents, etc. You see this tower here and a theft card. Issues of defending themselves, China, and issues of frugality or holding on to their coin in China. Here's Biden with issues of temperance. I really think we are in an economic war with China. I do think one of the reasons why we're seeing all this crazy stuff with the interest rates with our housing is we are trying to shake the tree, and they're trying to get China to divest of U.S. housing. That's really what's going on, and also U.S. banking. Unfortunately, it's led to banks that are heavily fueled with Chinese money collapsing, like what we saw in San Francisco. Um, yeah. But also, we theoretically would see Chinese holdings. We could theoretically see some housing sell offs, which is what they're trying to do. Basically, to break ourselves. China owns too much of the United States, and we cannot continue to fuel China's economy, which against us. Where we see Biden is this kind of temperance, but things are becoming increasingly difficult for China and Russia. And you can see here again, uh, the Tower, the Seven of Swords. These are cards that would denote tension, fighting, etc., or tension, fighting, destruction, theft. Uh, we're winning, they're not, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and close. I think I want to do one more. Yeah, SCIF issue. Yes. Will they try to shut down the government? I hope not. Let's take a look. Oh gosh. I said, oh no, why do I do that? I'm such a dang optimist before I've even looked at the records. I don't know. Maybe they will. Shut down the government. No, they won't. You have the King of Swords, which is a solid, kind of logical. Queen of Swords. These are very logical, military, the laws, the rules, temperance and growth. Eight of Wands, things happening very quickly. You'll see some arguing and debates in Congress, but ultimately, no. You see, coming into time of Ten of Cups, which means we'll have a working budget. There'll be no shutting down of any of the government or anything like that. It's a very strange. I've never seen the country like this before. I don't think it's. I think many of us feel like we're getting it from all sides, aren't we? Right? The weather is freaking us out. What happened in Maui is like, oh my gosh, it's apocalyptic and it's terrifying. And then we look at what's happening in terms of these wars, both in the United States but globally. The fact that that the Republicans are talking about slashing Social Security, etc. So Roe v. Wade, this kind of, I don't think I've ever seen this kind of aggressive crazy in my lifetime. Either that or I just haven't been paying attention. I haven't figured out which it is. But here's the good news. Here's the thing that's going to make you all smile. When you all start to volunteer to get out the vote, if you want to start meeting some cool people at the DNC and start making some phone calls, volunteer at your local voter headquarters. The good news is you'll be making friends with some amazing people, right? All right. Oh, Obama's going to visit Hawaii? That makes sense. Yeah. All right. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. I hope you had a really great time. Thank you so much for coming. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, be sure and share, like, and subscribe. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I do have openings for readings next week. Yes, I do. And I will be here accepting readings until September 4th. On September 4th, I will be flying to Vienna. I will be in Vienna for about a week and a half. I'll be spending a little time with my big sister, and I might go and see a little bit of violin. I was looking at doing a one-day violin a class, but I couldn't really find anything. Oh well. But I will definitely I'll definitely try and get you guys plenty of film footage of Vienna. And I might go to Salzburg too. Yeah. All right. Love and light to you all. Thank you so much. Again, if you're trying to get in for a reading, check out tarotwithwhimsy.com. The information is below. You can book through Booksy, or you can also, if you need just a quick 3 to 5 minute reading, I do pre-tape through Wizio. I think it costs something like $30. And that information is also below. All right. We'll see you next time. Be well, everyone. Thank you. Thanks again. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.